Good evening, welcome to Smackanory. Tonight we're going to be reading again from Fred Henning's Fights for the Championship, The Men and Their Times, and it's going to be a little story. It's one of my favourites, and I've alluded to it once or twice before. It's about Daniel Mendoza and Thomas Fewtrell, and also contains a mahogany table. So I won't say any more about it because I don't want to give you any spoilers. We'll get straight on with Henning's words. Just a moment. It's better. After the fight at Doncaster between Mendoza and Humphreys, which, as described in our last chapter, took place on the 29th of September 1790, and resulted in a second victory for the Jew, there was no doubt that Daniel had proved himself not only immeasurably superior to the gentleman, but by far the most scientific boxer that had, up to that date, been seen in England. His fame had spread all over the kingdom, and he received no end of offers from managers of provincial shows and theatres. And at the end of the year, he started on tour through the north of England and Scotland. He took with him the big Birmingham bruiser Fewtrell, who was, by the by, a Scotsman by birth. He was a good man and a formidable antagonist for the Jew to spar with, as he had been a pupil of Isaac Perrins and Jacobs, and was of great bulk and strength. His height was more than 6 feet, and he weighed upwards of 14 stone. Besides which, he had a great experience, having fought no less than 18 battles prior to this date. We may remark too that it was Fewtrell who brought the Highland Giant, which was the first prize fight, so far as we can gather, that was brought off in Scotland. They travelled together and did marvellous business with their boxing entertainments, and their experiences in Edinburgh and Glasgow alone would be worth relating if we could but afford the space. In the latter place, Mendoza saved his companion's life, for Fewtrell, who was an inveterate gambler, was attacked one night by some rowdies on his return home. They, thinking that they could rob him of his winnings. His cries for help outside the door awoke Mendoza, who threw up the window and threatened to shoot them. They took no heed, however, of the threat, but continued bashing poor Fewtrell around the head with sticks as he lay in the roadway. Mendoza thereupon took up a heavy mahogany table and hurled it into their midst, following the bombardment up with a few wooden chairs until the rascals fled. I've always particularly enjoyed that sentence. Following it up with a few wooden chairs. As if somehow it's the most normal thing in the world to throw a table out of a first floor window and follow it up with a few wooden chairs. Anyway, after 9 months' tour, they returned to England, and it was then that the great Philip Astley, the celebrated horseman, and afterwards the proprietor of the amphitheatre in the Westminster Bridge Road, engaged Mendoza to perform with the gloves in his place in Peter Street, Dublin. This was in the summer of 1791, and his success was immense. However, if you want to know anything about what happened in Dublin, you will have to support me on Patreon. So for now, that's been an extremely short Smackanory, but it is one of my favourite stories. So I hope you enjoyed it. Stick something in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. I'll see you soon. Good night.